Poo-poo platters are done. We're business casual Chinese now. And break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Yeah, y'all have gone way too far with that nonsense. If you get a chance, hit subscribe, likes, follows, shares, comments. All of those things really help. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything you're doing for me and being a part of this program. What's happening is I'm about to change some things. We are working on a different business model coming up, but I'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Right now, the big story of the day. I'm not going to talk about the big stories today. I'm going to talk about fun stuff. Kind of fun, unless you're Kit Kat. You don't just steal 400,000 Kit Kats and it go unnoticed. Nope. Kit Kat's smart, though. They reached out as a marketing event, if you will. They were like, all right, we need help. And it started with, this is real. This is not a joke. Kind of had to come out and say that, because it happened right here at April 1st. And then they go on with, I know how this sounds. Yes, you do. A truck left the facility in Italy, headed across Europe. Somewhere along the way, 12 tons of Kit Kats disappeared. That's over 400,000 bars. Truck gone. Candy gone. Everything gone. That's not a snack. That's inventory. No one knows what happened. No one knows where it went. Kit Kat didn't just say, we'll handle it. Nope. They launched a tracker. They want you to check your candy bar. You can take the 8-digit code off the back, type it into their system, and it'll tell you if your Kit Kat is stolen. Yes, your candy might be the subject of an investigation. At bare minimum, your candy could also be wanted. This is a big deal. It's where it gets real. Here's the part that they don't explain. What happens if it's stolen? What do you want me to do? Turn it in? Call somebody? Hi, 911. What's your emergency? Hey, I got a Kit Kat bar over here, and it just says it's stolen. I mean, what do you want me to do, ma'am? I'm sorry, can you hold? You never want to get put on hold by 911, but that can happen. Also, I imagine if they hear, 911, what's your emergency? Hey, my Kit Kat bar was stolen. They're going to be all like, what part of Poland you from? I'm going to be all like, South Poland? And if I know that it's stolen, shouldn't I just eat it faster? Cops pull up, sir, step away from the chocolate. You do not deserve those wafers, sir. No question about that. Stolen. Now, these were not regular Kit Kats. These were F1 car-shaped Kit Kats. Somebody didn't just steal chocolate. They stole a limited edition chocolate. It's not a crime. That's a collector's move. You could have had Jordans, but no. Now you have a product that you have to refrigerate. This is starting to smell like a publicity stunt, like Chris Brown and Rihanna. So I was looking. The truck was headed, I got it here on the map for you. The truck was headed towards Poland over an 800-mile run. Somewhere, it just vanished, just gone, just disappeared. They still haven't found the truck. And they still haven't found the candy. If this was a real show, you'd hear a good stager right there, and I'd probably be wearing a trench coat. But it's not. Somewhere, right now, there's a warehouse. And one guy is standing in front of 400,000 Kit Kats saying, you know what? I didn't think this through. Proper prior planning prevents poor performance. Yeah. Now, I love that we have all of the different brands jumping in. Obviously, McDonald's like, hey, yo, we still have Kit Kats. Do not count us out. Some of the things that have been posted, Outback's on board, Denny's, PayPal jumped in. I mean, these things are amazing. I saw these on BuzzFeed. That's where I pulled these from. But you're welcome to go check them out because it's really funny. See Domino's jumping up. They're like, listen, unrelated, we're offering a new Kit Kat pizza. That's kind of nice. That's completely unrelated. Best part of the whole thing for me is that nobody is really worried about the chocolate shortage. Every brand immediately went, hey, bro, how can we get involved? Nothing brings people together like a dessert felony. You don't get to say that line enough. Kit Kat says, don't worry about the supply. We're good. Our system's way too big. But they do want to know where their 400,000 Kit Kats are, and you can't blame them for that. I say stealing 400,000 Kit Kats is not a crime. It's a startup with bad leadership. That's where we are. I worked at a Chinese restaurant when I was young. It was back in the 80s, and I mean, it was a real deal Chinese restaurant. Dyed in the wool. It's still going today. That's the phone number. You're welcome to it. If you live around Somerville, jump up, give them a call. 875-4400, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, absolutely. I think I remember that. It's funny. So as a kid, that was the first job that I ever got. It was a real deal, family owned and operated, not inspired by, not fusion, not trying to be anything it wasn't. This place was committed. Remember, this was back in the day when people would migrate over and buy a Chinese restaurant or start one and live in the back till it was paid off. So this was back in those days. We were one step removed from that because they were the parents. Their parents owned the place. And if I remember correctly, the son and daughter were then the people in charge. They didn't hire staff. It was more of a production. It was a full cast. Everybody had a role. The owners, they were right up front handling business. Waitresses handled the floor. Me, handled the dishes. Dishwasher, back room. No promotion path, no internship. No, let's see how he does with customers. Nope. They saw me one time when I interviewed and said, put him where the bubbles are. Wasn't in the restaurant, I was in witness protection. If a customer saw me, I was on the way to the bathroom, and that was a mistake. That meant something had gone wrong in the system. And don't kid yourself, that place was a system too. Zero confusion when you walked in. There were mirrors on the roof. You knew exactly what you were getting. The music was authentic. Every single thing about it was celebrating heritage. Menu matched the door, decor matches the music matches the vibe. Every single thing about this is lined up. It's jam up and jelly tight. You didn't walk into this place and go, do you think they have pizza too? This wasn't a question. You knew. You smelled it from the parking lot. It was across the street from Burger King. Even before I worked there, I was known to drive up. I'd order on the phone. That's why we did it back then. We called people. We called the number. That's why it was on the sign. We called them and said, like for lunch, I'd get 2 egg rolls. Mama Son rolled the best egg rolls in the world. It was unbelievable. Later on, I would go on to work there, and in the parking lot, you thought to yourself, this is going to be a good decision. I'm making good decisions right this very minute. And they took the whole process seriously. This wasn't a restaurant. It was a cultural commitment. Every day at 3, when I went in, we were having lunch. We had 2 shifts. We had the lunch rush, which I didn't do. I got in at 3 because I had to go to school. Now, I did the 3 o'clock, but I ate at 3 when I came in. I worked, did everything, and at the end of the night, we ate again. So it was really a family thing, and you felt like you were a part of something because everyone depended on each other as the night went along. It was really a cool place to work. Now, fast forward to today. You can walk into a place like Panda Express. Now, I'm not mad at it. I ate there a right good bit. In fact, I had some yesterday. But let's be honest. That's not the same thing. That's not Chinese food, that's Chinese inspired efficiency. Everything looks right. Red walls, bamboo somewhere, one decorative dragon doing something. But the food, well, it passes as Chinese, but it's not traditional. I call it business casual Chinese food. You don't order anymore, you sort of assemble a resume. Yeah, I'll take the orange chicken. Oh, absolutely, chow mein first. Then the orange chicken, and since I'm getting a plate, never mind. Make it fried rice, orange chicken, and I want the broccoli beef. Oh, and a side of corporate efficiency. Yeah, that's what it is. And it moves fast. You don't even have time to think when things are going right. They're asking you all kinds of questions. Bowl or plate? Rice or noodles? Do you want to panic or just pick something? You always panic. You always panic. You can see yourself in the line right now because there's somebody behind you. They are judging you. Girls, this fool ever been here before? Come on now. This can't be your first time at Panda. Let's tighten up here. Back in the day, there was no rush. At Pagoda Chinese Restaurant in Summerville, South Carolina, there was no rush. We weren't turning tables in 22 minutes like a Waffle House. That wasn't our job. We were hosting an experience. It was a big deal. Oh, later I got out of the dishwasher, I got out of the kitchen, and I got out to the front. And later, I became a busboy. I got to clean up. That was kind of cool. We sold poo-poo platters. If you never had a poo-poo platter, it was basically a wheel with a fire in the middle and some beef skewers, and you got a chance to put them on there and get them a little better cooked because they were usually not super cooked. Then you had chicken wings on there, and you had some shrimp, and you also had 2 egg rolls, and we didn't do crab rangoon, but that is kind of the popular thing on a poo-poo platter. The whole objective is it's like the tortillas you get at the Mexican restaurant, right? It's designed to keep you talking. Everybody's having a good time. We're all reminiscing. And it was a big deal to go to the Chinese restaurant in the 80s. We weren't super familiar with the food in small town America yet, so we were all just kind of getting used to it. Now it's just a staple, but it was not then. So to go to that restaurant, your parents were all like, I don't eat that kind of food. I'm more of an American food person. And you're like, no, trust me, this is good. You like rice, they have rice. And so you had to teach them. And since I worked at a Chinese restaurant, my parents were like, no, we don't eat that. I got them into beef fried rice, and then we worked into, before long, they were eating regular Chinese food. And me and my friend were working there. It was a good time. It was all about an experience. Now it's about speed. You walk in hungry, you leave with a receipt, a drink, and mild anxiety. That's kind of the deal. And again, I'm not saying it's bad. You do not hear me complaining. I'm just saying where we used to have restaurants that said, this is who we are. Now, our restaurants are more like, yeah, this is what works. I respect both because that old place was this sort of magic thing. I think as the older I get, my revisionist history gets a lot better, a lot bigger, sure. But when you go to Panda Express or probably maybe any Chinese restaurant you've ever been to, you're probably getting fortune cookies that are in plastic wrap, right? That's kind of the thing, especially since the pandemic. However, we had the cookies underneath the tea. We had a tea burner. The thing was sick. So we kept the cookies warming in a tray underneath. It was incredible. When we took those things out, not only did you got the fun of getting the fortune, but you also got, these were really good cookies. Everyone knew it too. It was a good place to eat. For the kids, we had to learn to make different drinks like Shirley Temples and all kinds of different drinks, non-alcoholic drinks, because that was part of the show. And then if the parents ordered alcoholic drinks, they got them in those tiki glasses, and everything was about the show with mirrors on the ceiling. It was really fun, and I worked there for a year or two in high school, and I became part of the family, if you will. And the family was sort of a blended family. We had a lot of different parts of Asia represented, which really turned out to be cool in the end, because once we started adding people from different cultures, we started getting different foods. And we had a chance to eat some of the most incredible food I was ever around in my life. So it really was a life-changing experience. Those first jobs really can be cool. And I like those type of restaurants. I like preserving that tradition, even though I know it's dying. If you're somebody like me, you were back there fighting for your life with a sponge, I wasn't necessarily representing the brand for the first part of my tenure. I more represented moisture control, but I sure like what we did. And since that experience, I developed a love for Chinese food, and I still eat a lot of Chinese food to this day. If you don't spend a lot of time eating good Chinese food, seek some out. Just because it's in a strip mall doesn't always mean that it's good. My name is Bud, and we were talking earlier about what am I doing with this channel? What am I working on? Well, as I continue, I get to do what I want to do with Planes and Such, and that's fun. I enjoy doing stand-up comedy. That's fun. And I think what's happening in the comedy business, because the margins are so thin, the comedians aren't really getting promotion. Because used to, comedians would come to town and radio stations would have them in for the morning shows, and now morning shows are virtually, non-existent. They're piped in out of another city. So that area is not there. So there's no real way for the comedy clubs to get their product mentioned on radio and or television anymore. So what happens is they're not marketing the product. So they want the comedians to create their own advertising and bring their own crowd, and the comedy club is just hosting the event for you, in essence. And that's a good business model. I dig that. However, right at this moment, I don't think that the comedians have the following that they need to pull that off. With this, I'm going to work with some comedy folks here in town, and my intention is to interview their comedians coming in and start building audio for them and the comedians to use in future promotions. Then if they can build a better product for their online stuff, they can also grow their numbers, and then using the video and stuff that I've shot. What I want to get out of it is I just like being around comedy, and I'm running out of time. It's not really about the money now. It's about doing something that I want to do and not necessarily something that I have to do. So I really appreciate all of your support and all of the time you put here into the channel. Thanks for all of your likes, your comments, your shares. Thanks for subscribing, hitting the subscribe button. I don't think I have time for one more, but when I come back tomorrow, if your child or if you play video games and video games are a big thing for you, don't give that up. You can make legit money, and I have a cool new way for you to do it on tomorrow's show. Thanks again for your time.